This recognition and celebration. I will not be speaking because I would cry the whole time, so I'm just introducing. It's an honor to celebrate Peg, who is an outstanding colleague, mentor, and friend. We have a few individuals that are going to speak today, and then Peg is going to give some remarks, and then we'll open it up to anyone else in the room that would like to say a few comments. We are putting Peg on the hot seat. She can either stand or sit, whichever she feels comfortable with. I know she's retiring, so you know. So I'm proud to introduce an Assistant Director for Physical Education, Dave Rubino.
If you sit, I'll sit. If you stand, I'll stand.
I'll stand.
Okay.
For as long as I can.
Okay. Took me a while to figure out this story book. So Pegger, I don't know where to start. I'd say one of the worst moves you ever made was hiring me 15 years ago. I've been keeping notes for 15 years. So I went through everything, and it took me about 2.5 hours, and my son said, Dad, it's only like an hour. So I said, oh, I got to cut it back? He said, yeah. So I looked, and I said, my gosh, this is longer than my master's thesis. So I'm going to tone it way down. Way down. Except for coffee.
You still report to me.
Contract ended on the 15th. Contract ended on the 15th. So, I don't know where to start. 30 years. Let's get some feedback from anybody in the room. Has anybody ever been with a company, a university, a college, a business?
Lori Davis is here.
For 30 plus years? Let's see it.
Some of my peeps, yeah. Some of my peeps.
There. All
Yeah,
right.
they got me beat. Nice.
Okay, not many. Not many. So that's pretty impressive. Now, here's the magical question. And I need your feedback. What has she done for 30 years?
Rhetorical.
So we'll start off with undergrad, right? She went to undergrad. What else? Come on, a little feedback. You all know Pegs.
Four-sport athlete.
4-sport athlete. Oh, excuse me.
Three.
Three, but
12 letters. 12 letters.
we were told 3-sport starter.
Yeah.
Remember that, starter. Good. So athlete, student athlete.
He's a teacher. Can you tell he wants you?
What else? Good job so far. Coach. 8 years, assistant volleyball coach.
9.
The mark of a good instructor is not being afraid to be wrong. Okay, so what else?
Broadcaster.
Broadcaster, PA for how many sports? Women's soccer. Softball. Volleyball. Lacrosse.
And
Nailed that
soon
one.
to be women's soccer.
Soccer. Again.
Again.
Oh, okay.
I've got to retire. What else? Good. We're rolling.
Comedian.
Very nice. Very nice. Didn't have that in my notes. Keep going. Comedian. Speaker.
Teacher.
Yeah.
Physical education director. Compassionate. Passion.
Supportive boss.
Supportive boss.
Excellent colleague.
Excellent colleague.
Wonderful mentor.
Mentor. PE instructor. Area coordinators. Chaired how many committees? Been on many committees. Hiring committees.
PE department advocate.
PE department advocate. So she's done a few things. Son of a gun. In 30 years. Okay, not too shabby. Let's see what happens when you turn 51? No, just kidding. Glasses. I was hoping she was going to do that. Have you ever seen anybody with multiple glasses?
Yeah.
That has like 39 pairs. Okay? And it's the ones that come down to your nose and she gives you the look. Ooh, did I do something wrong? Okay. Anyway, so enough about her experiences at the U of O. The big question now is, What is she going to do in retirement? Anybody know?
Golf. Teach.
Golf.
Teach.
Teach. Woodworking, I heard.
See your friends.
See your friends.
Run for president.
Run for president.
2020, baby. 2020.
Is it too late?
16. Too late.
Anything else? I tell you what, this one came off the wire this morning. This is a hot one. I couldn't believe it. We talked about Peg playing 3 or 4 sports. So we were talking this morning a little bit about working out and getting in shape. So I was thinking, oh man. Well, the ticker tape came in and said, Peg has a tryout this weekend with the Emerald City Roller Derby team. Peg's rock and roll, as they say. Okay? So that will keep you going for a little while.
That will keep me going.
That will keep you going. Okay? Gosh. I don't know where to continue. I have so much.
You've done enough.
You know, the roller derby was a good one. That was my wife's idea. Kudos. So, what I'd like to do now, seriously, we have time just for a couple stories, because I don't want to take up the whole time. Does anybody have a story they'd like to share? We'll go through 2 stories. Anybody? And if you're all embarrassed, I'll start with one. Here we go, Karen.
So I think it's my first summer teaching, and one of my students took one of those those thick Zer tubes, which I now hate, and we were doing overhead shoulder press, and one side broke and hurt her pretty badly. And I sent an email to Peg, who immediately got back to me, and we went through the closet immediately, and she followed up with the student and with me, and I just thought, I have a cool boss, because she really cares about the students.
One more, anyone?
I'm sure that story can be sort of duplicated by everyone on your staff. You know, just whenever all of us have come to you with a certain particular unique story with our students, you've immediately been there to help resolve it.
Stephanie?
Time
and
and
then...
time.
Let's hold on. Gotta go with the heavy hitter first. We'll go Becky, then Stephanie.
Were you involved with that great luggage swap?
No, Coach.
Are you sure?
I'm sure I wasn't involved. I was involved in the great swap of 70, about 70.
It was 75 on a
75.
trip to Boise,
Yeah.
and the people with the station wagon that had all the suitcases swapped luggage between all the suitcases.
What was in the luggage? We swapped it between all the bags. On a softball trip to Boise.
With the boys stuff?
No, it was the softball team. All their stuff was in one vehicle, and the 4 of us that were in there were busy the whole
Ah, the farmers were in there!
You've met my softball coach?
Stephanie.
Okay. Yeah, one of my first classes, I had an athlete in my yoga class who seemed to be under the impression that he didn't have to do any of the work to pass. And I emailed Peg and I said, do we have some arrangement with the athletic department that athletes get to just pass? And she said, absolutely not. If he's not doing the work, fail him. And a few terms after that, I walked into my class and there were 5 men about 7.5 feet tall, and I said, look at my roster and you'll laugh. And she emailed me back and she said, they couldn't get a better teacher because you don't care about athletics. The entire senior basketball team was in my class.
And I bet they'll pass.
No.
Oh.
I can't. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for the stories. I have one I have to share, and then we're going to move on. I'm getting close to the end, so bear with me. It was a Friday. I believe our son was in 2nd grade at the time, and he had no school. So I didn't teach on Fridays at the time, so he came in. And his best friend's grandfather was an Oregon State alum. So he liked Oregon State. All of a sudden, our son starts liking Oregon State. So I said, come on, get a sweatshirt, let's go. Never realized he had an Oregon State sweatshirt. Oh, okay. So we get to my office. I said, Joey, why don't you go down and see if Peg's in her office and say hi? And he's like, oh, okay. So he comes flying down the hallway. I'm like, this is going to be good. So I'm doing stuff, and then 2 seconds later, I hear like someone's running down the hall. So I look out the hall. Here he comes in a full sprint, laughing. Here's Peg chasing him. Joey Rubino, get that Oregon State sweatshirt on right now! She comes in my office. What kind of parent are you? Got to give him choices. He'll switch to the good side at some point.
And he's back.
He's back.
He's back.
He's back. So that is my favorite story I will take to my grave.
I have to say, some of my best friends are Beavs, and a couple of them are here today. Thank you, Beaver fans, for being here.
But on a serious note, on behalf of all the PE instructors, thank you for your time, your patience, your understanding, being a good leader, being able to listen when we need to talk. I had a little meeting with Peg this morning, and I told her one of the best things I appreciate about you is I can talk to you about anything, and I mean anything, and that really is supportive. I've been at 3 universities. I can never do that at my other 2. Never in a million years. So thank you for that. I greatly appreciate it. Simply put, you will be missed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy retirement.
Thank you.
Next up, our former director, Dennis Monroe.
8,000, and began looking at the staff that existed. It didn't take me very long to realize the value that we had in one of our senior administrators, Peg Rees. One of the things that I realized one day, probably about 3 years into the job, and this is a bit of a morbid thought, but I had it. If Peg was ever hit by a bus, we are SOL. Because I had no clue what she did. I knew she did it well, but the details, the connections, all that is involved in running the division of our department that she did so faithfully and so expertly for so many years. I wouldn't have known where to start. So we had a conversation. Remember that? I said, Peg, I want it written down. I want to know everything you do so that if we ever had to, we could hand a notebook to someone. I don't know how many months you took, maybe a year. But she did it. And she ended up with this notebook. Chantel may be the recipient of this. It had the details, it had what was necessary, because this is not a job that you just put a shingle out and say, you know, give us your background, you have 3/4 of what's necessary to do this work. It's a very unique and specialized job. And it's a job that you don't find anywhere else in any other university where a robust physical education program like we have is embedded within a campus recreation department, granting with the trust of the university to grant university credits. So, and Peg was, you know, many others in this room were involved in building this program. Peg has kept it going for so many years. The other thing I realized pretty quickly with Peg was how level-headed she is. Love her sense of humor. You all can appreciate that. But I realized, you know, as a director, sometimes you need a sounding board. When the buck stops at your desk, you sometimes need a little guidance and advice. And I can count, probably on one hand, the number of people that played that role for me when I was director. And Peg was one of those. Oh, thank you for that. When I would come in with a dicey situation, Peg would say something to me. And she would say, Dennis, is this a hill you're prepared to die on? And if my answer was no, then she'd say, how about letting this one go? And you said it to me in person several times, and from there on, I said it to myself many, many, many times. And that little phrase guided me in many, many ways. And so, Peg, you now have a new special privilege. You get up in the morning and you say to yourself, gosh, what am I going to do today? Nice. Here's to that. And my more than able successor, Kevin Marbury.
So I have to write some things down because otherwise I will speak forever, even though I've been with Peg the shortest amount of time. I just have such great respect for what she has been to the university, what she continues to be to the university, and the entire community for that matter, and what she will be, because she's not necessarily leaving us per se. So I want to start off by thanking everybody for coming, because it's so good to see so many people from so many different parts of your life here to honor you for the contributions you've made both to the University of Oregon and to the PE and Rec department in particular, but really to the greater community. When you think about creating an environment that's inclusive and is welcoming and empowering for people who want to be a part of recreation, of wellness, and make healthy lifestyles, you've been a champion for that. So I thank you for that contribution as well. My mother likes to tell me that before she passes away, make sure I bring flowers to her so she can enjoy them while she's here, as opposed to waiting till she won't be able to enjoy them. So when I look out here, I see lots of people, but I hope what you're saying is lots of flowers. Because I think these folks really, really have so much for you. To fully acknowledge everything that Peg has done for this community, I'm going to run out of time, so I'm going to keep my comments really short, but I hope you realize that I'm not disrespecting what
We can meet tomorrow.
We will meet tomorrow. You've already heard about the legacy that is Peg Rees, from the three-sport athlete to her climbing to lead this wonderful department that we have that generates millions of dollars in tuition, more importantly impacts about 12,000 students every year in the classes. A phenomenal faculty that she has cultivated and developed to teach and push people in really proper and positive pursuits in terms of their health and well-being. But when I think of Peg, the person, the thing that comes to me first is our core values. And if you'll indulge me for a second, because I should memorize these, but I can't. Think about some of the words that we have in our core values. Compassion, cooperation, development, equity and inclusion, excellence, fun, integrity, and stewardship. The sum total of that is the person who we're here to celebrate today. And we have been so blessed and so fortunate that you have been a part of what we have been trying to do long before I took on the mantle of being a director. Dennis is correct. I've also heard, is this a hill you want to die on? I'm not interested in dying, so we have moved on to so many, many things. But I would tell you this, in my 30 years of being in higher education, I don't know if I have someone who I've had a greater level of trust and confidence and respect for than I have for what Peg brings to the table. I've done this all over the country, 5 schools, 6 states, for a long, long period of time. And I think I know what I'm doing. But it is so valuable, it's so important that I have someone that I can go to, bounce an idea off of, recalibrate, stop me in my tracks when necessary, but just have real heart-to-heart conversations on not just things that have to do with campus recreation and PE and wellness, but things that have to do with life. We have talked about allyship for our different causes. We have talked about life in general. We've talked about family. We've talked about all kinds of things. And to have that kind of support, that kind of counsel, that kind of resource right by your side every step of the way is something that many of you may not have had at the level that I've had, but I am so appreciative of it. When we transitioned here 4 years ago, $3,000, no one in the department, no one in the community, no family or whatever, it was important that we identified some people that we knew through thick and thin would be there for us, and Peg top of that list for us. And so on behalf of me, my wife, my family, our family, I thank you so much for all that you've done. My only regret is that the time has been so short. However, one thing that I am not going to miss, sort of like what Bina was talking about with Joey, Peg has this thing about the color orange. I made the mistake my first year here in a staff meeting of wearing what I thought was a beautiful shirt and tie combination that was orange. Didn't say a word, but the look she gave me that has meant that that shirt and tie combination has been in my closet for years. I tried a variation of it, a rust-colored shirt. It too has been in my closet for a number of years. But once we move away from you in that position,
Awesome.
I'm going to pull that shirt.
Good for you. On your days off, right?
On my days off, while I'm in Boise, Idaho. I guess I now have the opportunity to give Peg an opportunity to make some comments. And then after Peg finishes, if anybody wants to step up and make a comment, well, should we do that? No, let's. If anybody wants to make a comment, feel free to do so.
Thank you. Thank you. And Kevin and Dennis, for every bad thing I've ever said about you, I'd like to apologize at this time. Keep it under your hat.
You're still on payroll.
I am. Thank you so much. I've written some things down because I knew I wouldn't be able to remember them. First of all, I want to thank the crew that put this event together. Tiffany, Sue, Brent, Chantel, are those the four especially? Anybody I missed, thank you for your attention to this. Before I start my words, if you will raise your hand every time something applies to you. If you've been a volleyball player of mine in the past, raise your hand. Where are you, Crow? She came from way out of town to be here today. Thank you so much. I told Kevin, I thought your life only passed before you when you died, but clearly it passes before you. Every aspect of it. Rewind. When you're rewind. So how about work with me in the athletic department, or I worked with you in the athletic department. And athletic department people are here, and I've worked with you. There's a few hands coming up. There too. Worked with me in physical education and recreation. Yeah, there's a bunch of us. A colleague from across campus that we've known for different kinds of reasons. Yeah, awesome. If you're a friend of mine, raise your hand. Oh, that feels good. Great. I don't think I have any blood family here, but how about chosen family? If you know who you are. Yes, they're there. Great. You can't help but think about the meaning of the years you've invested in work as you get today in your career. I'm a crier, by the way. We know. I've been blessed to work with so many good people as a GTF, volleyball coach, and now in physical education and recreation. Certainly there have been challenges along the way. But for sure, when you work at something you truly believe in, you're bound to rub elbows with people who are like-minded people, and I have. In my 9 years with Oregon Volleyball, I believe every athlete graduated, and we competed in 3 national championships. I have ongoing relationships with many of my past athletes. I've had the privilege of following their careers and watching their families grow, and I'm very proud of my time as coach here. Coach is my favorite title. In my 23 years in the PE department, we delivered over 11,000 classes to over 300,000 students. We employed 160 faculty. I'm proud of those large numbers. It means we've positively impacted many, many people. My career has been a gift in many ways, and I will be forever grateful for the chance I've had to do that work, do work that aligned with my education and my interests, to work with colleagues that share the value of providing opportunities for students to learn and play and grow. I'm proud to have been a part of a sincere effort to better the lives of our students through our collective good work, and that includes so many of you here today. I'm happy to have worked in a place that had allowed me to live an authentic life. To come out of the closet without losing my job has been a critical part of my emotional, spiritual, and mental health. I cannot stress enough how important it is to listen to what people need to lead a safe and authentic life, and then to help them do it. I'd like to thank each of you for your part in supporting me, whether you knew you were doing so or not. Every conversation or interaction we've had has helped me do my part and to grow as a person. If you're here today, you've impacted my life, and you're on my list of people who I need to thank. Or you're a party crasher. And you're my kind of people. So I want to thank my two families, my family of origin, who have always been my biggest fans, and my chosen family, who have stood alongside me through the years. You know who you are. So what's next? I'm sticking around to teach a new class I'm designing called Women in Sport. I'll teach it in the fall and the spring. I'll continue to do public dress for softball and soccer. I'll pick up my woodworking on a more regular basis. I'm very excited to step into a somewhat unknown future. But I will miss my connections with each of you in doing the work that we do. We do very important work. Our students need it. Our world needs it. Keep calm and carry on. And thank you for being here to party with me.
Did not delegate off this job to speak at this point. We would like it to open it up to anyone else that would like to share a few words.
Story when you're ready.
Yeah, so feel free to step forward. We are taping this for Peg's family, so if you don't mind stepping forward, we would appreciate that. You got it, come on.
Oh, I know, it's just so silly. So I have a skirt company. I'm a little girly, whatever. And she doesn't know this, but on my production table,
please.
She has, you could just hang it or, frame it, whatever. A green, yellow, and white plaid golf skirt.
A golf skirt.
Maybe,
maybe I can
drink a few beers.
I'll ask around.
That's just the story I want to tell you because it's going to happen.
That's awesome.
Will you invite me and your foursome the day you wear that?
Oh, how inappropriate.
It's not
Thank
gonna
you. Thank you.
We go way back. I think we started our graduate degrees at the same time.
Yep.
Fall term 1984. I've known Peg a long time. And I think everybody in here values rhythm, right? It provides consistency and comfort. Daily rhythms are great. We're more healthy because of them. Our lives are richer. And I think of a 30-year rhythm with Peg in the department. I've never seen anybody bleed green and gold like Peg. Unless it's Lois Youngman. But still, and it goes beyond just the color and the color we associate with the athletics department or maybe the university. It comes from within with Peg, and it extends outward in the advocacy that she has so gracefully enacted in our department. I think of some of the things that she's done. She's always fought to better the physical education department. The timeless hours and the countless work she's put into making sure she understands what the union means and how we all can be better off for embracing it, and the fighting she has done on our behalf to make sure that we get revenues for our department. Still haven't accomplished the goal she set for getting tuition dollars our way, but my goodness, what a great fight. I'm going to miss the rhythm of Peg Rees in the department. It's going to be shaky for me. I'm going to come back to work. I teach 9 months. When I come back in the fall, Peg's not going to be in the big desk. But I consider myself so very blessed and fortunate because under Peg's leadership, I felt trusted, valued, and it's been a pleasure to come to work every day. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Oh, dear.
Peg often introduces me as one of her oldest friends.
She is. My very oldest friends.
When I was playing basketball at Oregon State University in 1970. And I also would like you to notice what
Julie, you're wearing green! Oh, what a wonderful word.
Yes, I put away all my orange and I put on green just to come down here because I heard there was free cake.
You laugh.
Peg and I played basketball against each other. Then she coached at Lebanon High School while I coached at Corvallis High School. And then we played...
And they beat our butts in volleyball year after year.
We played a gazillion years of softball together.
Yes, we did.
And then we worked volleyball camps here at the U of O when you were an assistant coach. And on and on and on and on and on. So how many years is that? Like 40-something at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to thank you for the impact you've had on a gazillion athletes, students, faculty and staff, and how you advocate for the wellness of everyone. And I've done that for a million years. And I retired a few years ago, and I don't know how I had time to work. So you're going to have a lot of fun.
Thank you, Judy.
I do know Peg since 1984. I think I can speak for any player that Peg coached or came across at all. She's the glue that held the volleyball program together when she was coaching and we were playing. And she's still the glue that holds the alumni together, because it seems like when we get together, it has something to do with Peg. So a lot of them wanted to be here today and they couldn't. But I just want to tell you, I appreciate your humor. I appreciate your kindness. I tried to take one of Peg's positions one time. She said, "Hey, I wanna not do volleyball camp this year, and so could you take my spot?" I'm like, "No, please." Okay, well I'll try. Well, you know, I missed a few details, so that was a one and done. That was a one and done kind of thing. But nobody can replace Peg, and I'm hoping to see you more actually.
Yeah. Thank you, girl.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say I probably am her oldest. Peg and I were freshman roommates. And, Yep, here, right here at the bird's nest. And the couple, I tell a lot, but I was going to tell two. The one that really grounded us, and Dr. Young, we took our first field hockey class. And we had never played field hockey. We had no idea what field hockey was with the stupid with the stick and the ball. So we get out, and it is pouring. It's the first day of class. It is just pouring. And we're standing there
Earlier field.
right on sticks, just drenched. And we're just looking at each other going, what are we doing here? This
Certain
is
they're
nuts."
going to cancel class,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, Dr. Youngins comes flying out of the door. It's a beautiful day! And forever after it, it'll be ingrained in my memory. But one of the things that was so neat about it is that we were in it together. And the other, then I talked about being a mentor. When we were going through registration, when 40 years ago, you did it in that court. And it was maddening, it was crazy, and you had to go around and see what the classes were closed or open, and people were just melting down. And Peg would give me your paperwork, give me your paperwork, and she would just take me everywhere, because I was just beside myself. And she was such a support to me. I would not have made it, I would not.
Money enrolling in classes for my friends. They were like, Peg, would you just go do it? These are the classes I want. And I charge them after a while.
So we know that there's many more celebrations in Peg's near future and one-on-ones, but we thought it was fitting that we end this. Well, we can take one more if you would like to come forward. Oh, don't be so open.
Well,
Becky.
I would always regret it if I didn't come up here and make a few comments. So.
Yes, you're fine. No, you're fine.
Well, Peg and I have known each other from the early 90s. It's kind of a hard one. When we were both staff members. I think with this group I could share how we met. I was actually on the staff of the counseling center at the time, one of my favorite jobs in my career ever. And I was on a panel speaking about what it was like for gay and lesbian students at the University of Oregon. And after the panel, Peg came up to me.
I was taking the class, Women's Studies 101.
And she said, I like what you're saying. And then as it turned out, she liked me as well. So Peg and I had the chance to share many things. That was a wonderful bonus. And I just partly wanted to just say thank you. Being a part of Peg's career was just an incredibly exciting journey. If you love women's sports, as I do, there's nobody you'd rather be connected to than Peg Rees. We went to tournaments and every venue in the Pac-10 at the time, and with her public address and her the Fox Sports Northwest, I met all kinds of people and we went to all kinds of events. It was just amazing. Anybody that knows me knows that my form of celebrity are women who coach Division I women's basketball. She introduced me to many of them, Doug Smith included, and we just had a great ride.
Yeah, we did.
Front row seats at Matt Court, and I just want to totally thank you for that. And I have one other little last story, because I know that there's just so many things that we could say. Two, actually, just really quick.
This is how it goes.
One comment I just wanted to make is just about integrity and about the qualities that Peg has. Because I know a lot of you talked about the hard work, the dedication, the loyalty, the trust. But sometimes, you see people and they're like that at work. We can kind of keep that up in a professional setting. But I'm here to tell you that she has those same qualities, including the personal integrity, all the way through in her personal life. Everything that she does, says, feels, communicates. And I think that's very, very impressive for a person. Now I'll tell you a funny story about the impact that Peg Rees has. I bring you greetings from my 99-year-old father, Andy, who absolutely loves Peg. And I'm here from Corvallis today. And
we forgive her. It's okay, go ahead.
But I'm more of that platypus type, because I was a duck for many years before I moved to Corvallis. And, but you have to know my parents. My dad started his career at Oregon State at about the same age that Peg started here at the U of O. He's 99, so he's got a few on her. And pertinent to this story, these are folks that sat in the rain through 40 losing football seasons. These are black and orange people through and through. But at one point, in about 2000, Peg got one of her many awards. And she was going to walk out on the field at Austin Stadium and get an award at the Oregon USC game. So she invited my folks, who were delighted to come. And we felt that they would probably be savvy enough not to wear black and orange to Autzen Stadium. So we came to the plaza, and we're all looking for Andy and Evelyn, remember this? And we thought, well, they'll probably be on blue or brown or something, neutral, right? They come walking across the plaza in green and yellow. This is the impact that Peg Rees has. Thank you, we love you.
Thank you. But he showed me his socks, which were orange and black. Yes.
Well, I've known Peg since she was a freshman, I guess, because when she was a freshman, that's when women's intercollegiate athletics was graded on the University of Oregon campus, and I was named the women's athletic director. So I didn't have her in a class, even though I had been an instructor and a professor and so forth. But then I had her as an athlete. See, so I've seen her as a student from the outside, because I wasn't her teacher. And then I've seen her as an athlete. And then I was fortunate to be on her interdisciplinary master's thesis committee. And so I could see her from a different realm and a different aspect. And I was super impressed by the quality of work in her thesis, how she defended it, just the thoughtfulness in what she was really studying and how it was all put together. You know, it's a whole different life than those kids in the back of the bus driving and shifting luggage and so forth. But to see her, you know, as a graduate student and putting out quality work. And then since that time, of course, we've been connected a lot through the softball realm, because that's my most favorite sport, even though I coached other sports here. Basketball 50 years ago. 51 years ago.
But who's counting?
Anyway, so it's been great to see her from these different aspects, and I've really enjoyed my connection with her all these years. And she was on that first team that went to the Women's College World Series in 1976 for softball, and was one of the glues that held the team together as a strong leader and a good example for all the other people that came along. So.
Thank you.
And the first Becky Sicily Award winner.
Which we finally got in because it was like the Leo Harris Award. Remember Herbie? Yeah, similar.
Herbie!
But then the women get one. Always fighting for gender equity.
Becky, we know how great you are, but she told me she taught you everything. I can't thank her enough for all she's done for the university and the athletic department. One thing I'm going to always remember what she did will be ingrained in my head. She's a kind of a leader. She jumped into this machine, and there was a press box at Howell Field, and was standing up all alone, and she got into this machine, and she was smiling, and she went crash, and the whole thing came down in one lump sum. Like she had the biggest grin on her face. So every time I get to the stadium, I'll always think of you, Peg.
Oh, thank you, Herbie.
Great job.
Thank you. Yeah, the construction guys told me to track her. Folks, you don't realize the history that's in this room. I'm telling you. Yikes. I said, so who are my mentors? Raise your hand. My mentors. Yeah, Herbie, yeah, there's Lorraine. Great. Yowza.
I only have one thing to say. You're in luck. I want to thank you for maintaining the exceptionally high standards of an exceptionally great physical education and recreation program for your past 30 years.
Right. Thank you. Sobering for your mentors and your teachers to be alive and well and living in your town and watching what you do. What was I going to do? Right?
I'm gun shy now. So we would like to to wrap up. We hope you'll stay. We have this space for a while longer, so we hope you'll take some time to one-on-one visit with Peg. But we would like to end with playing the fight song. So please feel free to join